Is this the start of the bear market for Ethereum, or do we have more upside left? Well, we're gonna check a few different scenarios for that. So this is my main account right now. This is looking for higher prices. You can see here 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 to a 1, a WXY finished here for a wave 2, and now we're looking for a 1, 2, 1, 2, and so on. This is on a monthly chart. You could argue that if this were a wave C, but that we were looking for downside, but if this were a wave C, we would preferably end on very high volume because that's a typical of a wave C. We didn't do that, so this has a higher chance. Still, if this was a wave C, we would look for a correction here because this in itself is a zigzag up, and we will look for a more upwards movement in a finishing wave Y. So we're still looking for more upside. It's just a matter of a correction here, how long it will be and how deep the correction will last, or how deep it will be rather. So here is a 2 weeks chart. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 3, 4, 5 to a primary wave 1, WXY if we are assuming we are done here, which is very likely. So here we have the impulse up that we are currently working with. And same here, you can see that the volume is here in wave 3 and here in this wave 3 in the wave 5 of wave 3 of a higher degree. The intermediate wave 3 here. And here in the top, you can see that we didn't have much volume at all, which is very typical of a wave 5, which in turn means that this is a very high probability of being a wave 1 or rather a finished impulse wave of some sort. This count is on the daily chart. Here we have a finished wave 1, and now we are looking for an A, B, C, W, X, and now a finishing wave Y. And since wave W was a zigzag and we hit the 0.70 fib here, you can see that we clearly hit it. So this is 78.6. The chances are very low that this is a deep zigzag correction. And if this is a sideways correction, if wave W is a zigzag, wave Y cannot be a zigzag. It needs to be a flat or a triangle. And a flat always have a higher probability than a triangle. So here we are looking for a flat in this scenario. Wave X also hit a very nice fib target. It was almost right on the spot here on the 38.2 fib time, which is fine for a wave X. So this scenario is looking for more upside because this is a correction. We could go a bit lower here, for this is a wave 2, and wave 2 has a high chance of going a bit deeper than other waves. So 50 fib and 61.8 is not at all uncommon for a retracement for a wave 2. So this is looking for a deeper retracement. It doesn't have to be deep, but wave 2 usually have like 50, 61.8, something like that. But we have seen countless occasions where wave 2 ends on 38.2 as well. So yeah, that was that scenario. And after this correction, yeah, we're looking for upside. Here we also have a finishing wave 1. Here we count this as an A, and now we are looking for a wave B here as an A, B, C. The problem here is that in a wave B here, an expanded flat, you don't want wave B, A, B, this B, to be flat in itself because that's extremely uncommon. Some Elliottians say that it's not allowed, but it's nowhere in the book to be found any rule against it, but it's more like a common agreement that, or agreement, some say it's not allowed, and that's wrong, but it's very unusual. So this doesn't really have the highest probability, but it's good to be aware of that we could get a fake out upwards, because in this scenario, the WX and then the Y, even if this has a higher chance of being a flat, we could get a triangle and we could take out the high here, because if we have an A and then a B here, and then a bigger wave C, you still take out the high and fool everyone and get down here in the wave C, finishing the wave Y, and then move up. So it's kind of the same principle here, that we are moving up in a fake way kind of move. So yeah, be mindful of that. Here we have a finished wave C. This is assuming that the correction is over. And this is a lower probability because of time mainly. Or not mainly, almost only because of time, and also something else. Because here you can see wave B is great, 38.2 as we mentioned with the wave X. That's perfectly fine. And wave C here, you can see that the time, you measure A plus B to get the time for wave C. And we didn't even hit the 38.2, which is extremely uncommon for wave C. So that signals that this move isn't over yet, or that this count rather is not the highest probability. So, and also the move down, it is typical of a wave C, and you end on a lot of volume, but you can't really count 1, 2, 3. I mean, where's your 4? You can't really find a wave 4 here. So it could be like a WXY kind of structure instead of an impulse down. Because, yeah, you can clearly see the wave 2 here, 1, 2, but you see here just a big red. It was of the Trump announcement with the China tariffs. So yeah, it doesn't really look great as an impulse. You could argue that it is a hidden 4 somewhere, but I mainly prefer to count waves that are visible, and if they are hidden, they are hidden. Then they don't really have the highest probability to begin with. So I'll just focus on the waves I can count and not go into hidden waves here. So yeah, this has a low chance of being finished, but still this is also correcting this, and is after this is corrected, then we are moving up to higher prices. The only two bearish counts that are pretty much available to us are these: that we are a finished wave 1, or not a wave 1, then we need to count this as a wave C of some sorts, or a wave 5 rather. This is a leading diagonal on the wave 1, 2, 1, 2, and now we are looking for more downside. So the issue here is that the leading diagonal, after a diagonal, you want a deep retracement. We got that, but yeah, I thought we did hit the 80s. We didn't. So we got a deep retracement. Yeah, so that's good for a leading diagonal. But here in this wave 4, we did hit the 61.8 fib target. So if we are looking for an impulse down, you don't want to hit the 61.8 because that's an extremely rare target for wave 4. These circumstances with these tariffs announcements did throw pretty much everything upside down. So yeah, but it's not an invalidation or anything. It's just extremely uncommon in a normal market, I would say, that wave 4 hit the 61.8. It could be a wave 4, but it's not invalidated. It's only invalidated if we hit this, the start of wave 1. That's the hard invalidation, but it's extremely uncommon, as I mentioned. So if we were to count this way, yeah, this is a big issue for me to not give this the highest probability. So yeah, that was that. And the expanding diagonal in itself is an extremely, this is the most uncommon structure in Elliott waves. An expanding diagonal, and an expanding leading diagonal as well is it's extremely unlikely. So it's more common in stocks, that kind of thing, after wave 5 has a top has been reached. Then it's more common for stocks to show expanding diagonals. You can see it pretty clearly on Tesla and stocks like that, but in crypto, especially on the higher time frames like this, on the daily, it's extremely uncommon for expanding diagonal, a leading one as well. And then we also have the option of this, a bigger expanding diagonal. So this is you don't really want to count an expanding diagonal before you are done with wave 4. Then it gets higher probability. Here we can also argue that we are going for another wave 5 here, because as I mentioned, this doesn't really look finished in itself, so we're looking for more corrective structure kind of nature. So yeah, do with that as you wish. But both of these, I mean, this is the bearish one, expanding diagonal, extremely rare, and this is the impulse down, and we hit the 61.8. So and it was such a deep correction here in wave 2. It's not, this is the 886 taken from this this here. Oh no, that's invalidation. Yeah, exactly. So we hit the 886 for this wave 2, which also is extremely uncommon. I didn't even remember that because I was so focused on this being. So yeah, you hit 886, almost hit invalidation, hit the 61.8. I mean, that was the probabilities for this, the highest probability bearish scenario. And then you need to move on to expanding diagonal, because they are so much more rare than this structure. And this also, I mean, as I mentioned, this hit all the wrong probabilities. So yeah, it is extremely highly more probable that this is a correction and that we are looking for higher prices, basically looking for all of these that I just mentioned. So keep an eye out for this, as I hold this as the highest probability one, mainly because due of the time not being finished here, and also that this isn't really a wave 4. It looks more like a corrective structure, meaning that we are looking for either a flat or a triangle. So that was it for Ethereum. I hope you have a great evening.